All righty. Let's see if we got any sound coming out the back end here. Ah, let's see here. Yes, we do. Okay. Ladies, gentlemen, pronouns, lend me your ears. Crazy Kid back for another live stream. And we've definitely got summertime now. It's been like 90 in the 90s for the last couple days. And I thought, what a great way to talk about how to beat the heat. Like we got this major heat wave coming through. It's gonna last for about a week, a little bit more. So do you have any tips on beating the heat aside from just, like stay in an air conditioned room? And let me tell you, I bless the people who invented these air comfort systems that they put in our units. I wish them all the best blessings. The people that installed them, the building for putting them in our units. Because man, I tell you, with just my little air conditioner that I had up there, was never going to be able to crack this heat wave that we're gonna be experiencing over the next couple of days. So I really thank you know the lucky stars that they did this stuff here for our comfort and for their economics because they do run a whole lot less expensive on the hydro than the having everybody have inefficient air conditioners. So like I'm sitting here in a very comfortable room, and it's uh, it's just my way, a little way of beating the heat. But the thing about it is earlier today, my mom called me up in a panic, and she was like, "Oh my God, our fridge just broke down. Do you have any room in the freezer?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got lots of room." Packed up my cooler bags. I marched over to where my dad was volunteering and said, "Hey, we got to take the stuff out of the freezer and transfer it over to my place as quick as possible because that stuff is thawing out by the minute." So we took care of that, and man, I tell you, climbing them stairs in 85-degree heat this morning, oh, and even walking over to the place where my dad volunteers, man, I tell you, I was sweating buckets by the time I got there. I stopped off at Tim Hortons to grab myself a ice cap to keep myself cool for the rest of the walk. I walked outside and that thing just melted. There was no ice crystals in it whatsoever after I got outside. Normally you could walk all the way to the mall, which is right across the street from where my dad volunteers, and you'd be sipping on that thing away, and there'd be ice crystals in the bottom of this ice cap. As soon as I walked outside, it was done. It was melted. It was so hot outside. So, and we're here in Canada where a lot of people stereotypically think that it's the land of ice and snow. It's not. Not in the summertime. In the summertime, we get heat waves. So, like you go into the beach to cool off, to dunk your butt in the water for a little while, just to kind of chill out. You got a pool that you go into to crack the heat wave a little bit. Uh, you know, or do you just sit back in the air conditioned room, read a book, watch TV? You know, what do you do? Where do you go to beat the heat? Um, so that's kind of what we want to talk about today. Um, I know I used to work in a lot of really hot environments. I worked in kitchens, and in order for us to beat the heat, some of the things that um, we did in the kitchens is we would try to mimic and match the temperature internally as it was externally. So we would drink like hot chocolate, drink coffee all day long while we were in the kitchens. And you didn't feel the heat as much because your body is more closer to the ambient temperature of your surroundings. So that's kind of one way. But a lot of people don't like drinking hot liquids in hot weather. They want to drink those cool liquids and sweat it out. I did the same thing when I worked in a factory, in a plastics factory, where you're sitting beside a machine that's 800 degrees, and you're pulling parts out of the machine. I'd be sitting there sipping up on a cup of coffee, and everybody's like, "How can you drink that while you're working in such hot ambient weather?" Like, just it mimic. I get my body up to the temperature, close to the temperature around me. The closer it is to the temperature around me, the less I feel it. So, and I'm sitting there, I got no sweat coming off me. I'm just working away, doing my stuff. And the people that are drinking ice water, sitting there just pouring out. I'm like, there you go. Your body's cold. The temperature outside's hot. You're going to condensate. So I sent an invite out to RJ, who's down in the southern United States. He's more apt into knowing how to beat the heat because he's living in it all the time. I sent an invite out to him to see if he'd join up. Once he catches the invite in his inbox, maybe he'll come on and share a few things if he does it in time. So when you get in, chime in, say hi. I much appreciate seeing when people show up. But man, this heat wave is going to be drastic for about the next week, and it's almost like the devil moved in next door and going, "Hey, this ain't so bad after all," So, but yeah, I couldn't believe it when I walked out of Tim Hortons today with an ice cap in my hand, thinking, "Okay, this thing here will stay cold forever." Got outside and it was like it didn't want to play anymore. It just melted. I was like, "Wow, it's hot when ice doesn't want to play anymore." But yeah, it's just like I remember back in the day, we'd go to the beach, we'd go camping, and as soon as it started getting warm, we put the bathing suits on, strap the towel around your neck, head down to the beach, go play in the water for like hours and hours and hours on end, just to stay cool. And then we weren't swimming around going, "Oh, look at me, I'm swimming against the wave." No, we were just standing there going, "Oh," and then the wave hit you. Then you're like, "Oh yeah, that's great," Hey Nicole, how are you doing? Yeah. Then we had a pool when I was growing up, and I'd come home from school in the summertime before school ended in June, at the end of June. Because here in Canada, we go to school from the beginning of September to the end of June. And, between May and the end of June, you get some hot weather around here anyways. And, we'd open the pool up, between, Easter weekend and May 2-4 weekend, because it's better for the pool, and it's a lot better for the chemicals to get that moving around before algae starts setting in and destroying the chemicals that are left. So the best time to open a pool is between like Easter weekend and May 2-4 weekend, or as Americans would call it, Memorial Day weekend. And then in the fall, it's best to close the pool between like Labor Day and like the middle of October, or was what we call Thanksgiving. You should have your pool closed by Thanksgiving, and you should have your pool open by May 2-4 weekend, no later. Because at 65 degrees, the stagnant water starts forming algae, and that destroys your chemical balance. So it's best to get that stuff spinning around and properly put up. Hey, Andy, how you doing? So we would do that. We'd get it all, get the pool all going and stuff like that. And after a warm day at school, I walk home. It took, it was about like a mile from public school to home. And then as soon as I got home, I, throw my book bag on my bed, get my swim shorts on, jump in the pool, play around in the pool for a little while, and then I go and do my homework. Hiding inside the AC is nice. Yeah. Yeah. I like I said at the very beginning, I thank my lucky stars that the building that I live in, the management really cares about the people that live here, and they put these air comfort systems in for our comfort and for their economic, because these things are a lot cheaper on electricity than everybody having different air conditioning units that are being basically run to the max and more. And these things here aren't even hardly running at all. Like they're just, just cruising. And, it's such a blessing to have these air comfort units. But I remember back in the day, I cut a couple of grasses on the weekend. Then I'd come home and I'd go back in and wash my feet off and stuff like that. Then I'd go jump in the pool for 20, 30 minutes. And I'd jump back out, get on my bike, drag my mower across town, go cut another couple of grasses, come back home, wash my feet off, jump back in the pool for a little while. Oh, chocolate ice cream. Yeah. Yeah. When I was working at the factory, on days like today, where it was like over 30 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit, or like 86 degrees Fahrenheit, they would hand us these, they'd buy a bunch of freezies, and, they go around in the middle of break times, like between first break and lunch, lunch and second break, and then second break and quitting time. Every hour you had the opportunity, whether it be your break time or someone going around and handing them out at your line, and they give you one of these freezies to cool down. And I was like, why don't you just hand everybody a bottle of water? Let them sweat, because like this little bit of sugar water really not doing a whole lot other than just cooling you down for a minute and then you're done. Trying to stay cool. You got a heat warning until Wednesday here. Wow. See, we got a heat warning here until like for another week. I mean, apparently, you guys are getting a break. Hey, if they're giving it out to everybody, you're part of everybody. Take it. That's what I say. Because like that little package of sugar water, I was like, as much as I don't want one of these, I'm going to take one just because I know that it's going to cool me off for like a minute. And then, once I'm cooled off for a minute, I'm just going to be right back up to warm again. I can go to the cafeteria, grab myself a coffee, and warm up my insides to match the outside better. And I'd be fine. Probably another reason why I drink so much coffee. Even to this day, I drink a ton of coffee. But I had a iced cappuccino today, and that thing melted as soon as I walked outside. It just went, I'm not playing anymore. Oh, they had a water cooler at every workstation. Nice. Not where I work. Oh, they had a fan. And the strangest thing is, what they would do is they would put the fan at the machine and then blow all that hot air at you. Like, no. Put the fan on the outside and then blow the cooler air into us. But it was better for the computer components on the machines to blow the hot air out. But I really didn't like having the fan blowing on me when I was working. I found it more of a distraction than anything. Yeah, aluminum. You're talking 700 degrees just to melt aluminum. Yeah, that's like it takes like 300 degrees to melt plastics, like the hard plastic, in pellet form, and all that is localized in the barrel of the injection machine. And they got like insulation around that to limit the amount of heat that goes out, but we still got a lot of heat coming off them things. Like, let me tell you. And then the parts themselves, they're like 600 degrees when they're shot into that mold, and they're not cooled off very much by the time they come out, and they're coming out like every 30, 40 seconds. And you got to put these things together. And sometimes them sprues were still like soft on the inside. Like the sprues would be like, 1/4 inch diameter, but they'd still be soft, like liquid on the inside almost by the time they got to us. We had to break them things off and put all these extra parts on there and put them off to the next person. But all that radiant heat kept coming up at them. In the wintertime, it was all right. Wow. 50 to 60,000 pounds each. That's nuts. They would have to cool that down to like 200 degrees before they could actually coil it up. Otherwise, it would stick together. Yeah, that's aluminum. Any type of metal plant, you're talking 6, 7, 800 degrees, sometimes 1,000 degrees, just to keep that stuff in liquid form, so you can shape it into whatever you want to shape it. But wow, that's I thought about going into this one factory that was around, but I was like, I really don't see a future there, because they go on strike every 3 years, and they'd be on strike for like 3/4 of a year, and I was like, you're never going to really make it or bank any money, because like by the time you bank a little bit of money, all of a sudden you're on strike again, and then you lose 9 months worth of work, 9 months worth of pay for what? So you go back to work. You go back to working for 30 cents an hour more. Woo-hoo. You're never going to make it back up again. And a lot of the times, like the factory I worked at, our contract deadline was in the summertime, which wasn't so bad. But the thing about it is, you're looking at being out in the hot sun or the wet rain or the cool nights, and then it was at the point of the summertime where the weather starts coming down. So, if you're out there for 3 months, welcome to November in Canada. Yeah, the average person in manufacturing facilities here in my area, anyways, they make between 60 and 100 grand per year. That's it. That really is expensive stuff. But I worked in automotive injection molding for a long period of time, and let me tell you, sometimes they'd put me on. I'd be on a lift truck, and you get that wind blowing on you all the time when you're driving, but when you were sitting there waiting for a part or something to do, you're sitting on top of an engine, or on top of a hot battery, and there's no air movement. It's like, I got to go outside. I got to get some fresh air just to keep my senses up. But that's you gotta do what you gotta do to keep your body in motion when it's hot like this. A lot of people, some people, they'll take a cool towel and just kind of wrap it around their neck, and that really helps out. That really helps out. A cool wet towel, and then just continuously just kind of refresh how cool that water is in that towel, just to keep yourself cool. Um, I know some people have actually taken an ice pack, frozen ice pack, and put it on, like, just kind of strap it to their hat and put a hat on. The only thing about it is as it melts, 100,000 pounds. They don't tip lifting us. Yeah, 2 foot tall, solid. Oh yeah, yeah. Like, for me, driving a lift truck, it was. I started driving lift trucks when I was 16 years old, and I actually learned how to drive a lift truck before I got my driver's license. And like, I figured out a long time ago, how to manipulate that lift truck so that it'd be just nothing more than an extension of my own mind and my own body. I figured out, like, if you just, realize that this is part of you, you'll have no problem. Yeah. Yeah. Like, if your forks are empty, yeah, you drive forward. But, when your forks are full, you gotta twist and turn around. It's and then you hit them bumps while you're turning around. It's not really good for your spine. But, you got to do what you got to do to survive. You got to do what you got to do to keep your life going. But yeah, um, like, some people, they'll go. Like, I used to go fishing and uh, water skiing. I used to go golfing. Being out in the country, the weather's a whole lot different out in the country. No buildings to block the wind, so you got trees, but you don't have like solid structures to keep the wind from coming in and cooling you off. So out on the water, man, I tell you, I'd done so much water skiing when I was in my 20s. You almost thought it was almost to the point where you would almost think that I'd go to work with those skis on. That's how much I did water skiing. I had a lot of fun doing that. Water skiing, wakeboarding, tubing. Oh my God. Christian Kane. Yeah, send me a couple of his songs. I already have songs listed up to the end of the month. I'm going to be doing this Jump and Celebrate for Canada Day, and Party in the USA for July 4th. I was getting ready to do them today, and my mom called up in a panic, and I was like, "Oh, crisis line!" It's almost like my phone is all of a sudden the family crisis line. Whenever there's a crisis, my family phones me up and say, "Hey, you got time? Okay, I'll be over there in a minute." Or come pick me up. Christian Kane. I'll have to check some of his stuff out. But I do have a bunch lined up already, ready to go. It's just a matter of putting them in order and stuff like that. Also, an actor. I'll probably when I do my little bit of research about his songs and himself, I'll probably find out what he was in and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll check him out. The best place to send in requests for the time being is Patreon, and the link is scrolling across the screen. We got one member, so that's a good thing. But I got some content up there. I got to make some more content. I'm actually seriously considering purchasing a drone for some interesting footage to put on the Patreon account. But like this week or next week, oh, that's cool. That's cool, Nicole. It's no big deal. If people can't afford or can't, put it in their budget, then they just can't put it in their budget. Just whatever whatever you're available to do. Whatever you're not, don't. I'm not asking people to break the bank so that I can have a good life. I just ask people, if you want to support the channel and the ventures and stuff like that I'm doing, then that's where you can support it at. Yeah. Just email them to me. But that's where you can help. Like the Patreon page is where you can help support the channel. Like the better lighting systems that I've gotten, the small little camera. That's what that helps, put forth. And then obviously the drone. If I get a drone, then that'll be part of building the Crazy Kid Empire, whatever. But that'll be part of putting back into the business of making money online. All tax deductible. So, but yeah, if people can afford to do it, then do it. If they can't, don't break your bank because of me. That's why I say, even though there's those that donate button on the bottom of the screen there, I much prefer people getting their monies or getting value for their money. If you're feeling like you're getting value for the money, yeah, go ahead and play with that button. If you feel like you want something more to get value for your money to donate, then go to the Patreon. Or if you want to get glasses, go to Firmoo. That's why I do those things. And try to let you do something to get something in return, but I get something in return as well. That's how that Firmoo affiliate link works. Is you visit my pinned comment, you go to their site, and then if you buy something, you put in that promotion code, and you'll get 50% off your frames. And when the purchase is done, the you get your glasses, and when you use my link, I get a tiny little portion of the profits, like the profit margin of your order. And that's one way to help support the channel is by dealing with or doing like buying things through the affiliate links that I set up. But I'm thinking soon probably ending the relationship with Firmoo because nobody's going to the site and purchasing eyewear. It's a big ticket item and it's a niche. Where only people with prescription eyewear are going to go there. So I'm actually looking at getting something a little bit different, possibly something more consumable. A little uh, more reasonable in price down the road. But that's just one of those things. I got to kind of test out, try out, and see if it works. And if it does, then I'll just keep on keeping on. Uh, it's in the description box of every one of my videos for about the last month. Um, Let me go get it for you. Let's see here. There you go. There's the Patreon link. So if anybody wants to go and check it out, see what's available on there. I went to the Retrofest car show. So I'm gonna take that off of there because it puts it in a spot where it takes where it's in the way. I went to the Retrofest car show uptown, and there was a ton of cars. And I viewed it. I recorded a few of them. And I had a little snarky comment about some of them. But yeah, there was a whole lot of cars up there. Like, my God. And then editing that footage was. I got to really learn how to use that camera. That's what I learned about editing that video. Is I really need to learn how to use that camera. Yeah, I'll check them out, and I'll let you know what I come up with. Now, mind you, I can't do all 4 songs back to back to back to back to back. I got to spread them out a little bit because I like to keep things as a variety. Like different here, different there, different here, different there. Different artists all the time, but still bring in some of the ones that are good, well viewed. Like Love Bites. That's a group that a lot of people are watching that video. Franz Rhythm, Mission Souls, Fourth Impact. Bands groups like that. They're always there for the views. And then I'd like to pop in occasionally something like Sawyer Brown or um, Christian Kane or Terry Clark, or AC/DC or whatever I find interesting. I'll put that in there, find a little bit of interesting stuff about the song. But I like to keep it a little bit more of a variety, so this way here, I can test out, I can keep the views kind of stabilized over the month. Oh, I'll probably enjoy all 4 of them if I know you're a consummate um you're a consummate country music what do you call it, connoisseur. You enjoy, and I enjoy a lot of the same stuff that you do when it comes to the songs, the lyrics, the beat when it comes to country music. So I know I'm going to enjoy. I've enjoyed everything that you've sent me so far. So I don't think these are going to be any different. So it's just when I get to them, I'll get to them. And when I check that stuff out, I'll do a little bit of research on each song and kind of try to put it into a mode or a mood as I go along. But we've jumped right off the rails of beating the summer heat. So what do you do in the Philippines to beat the heat there, Kieran? Like, there's got to be, like probably 100 different scuba diving places to go to, or water park, or not water park, but splash park. Like, we got a splash park right here in the city that I live in, but it's like all the way on the other side of town. It'd take me about an hour and a half to walk there, and it's just. And then me being in my 50s, and it's a splash park for basically kids. It would basically make me look like, not the person that I am. So it'd be best just for me to stand in the shower with the cool water rolling. But it is what it is. I was sweating my butt off so much over at my mom and dad's place. They don't have air conditioning. Because my mom, she just doesn't want to pay for air conditioning. But most of your time working online, condo has great air con. Okay, so that's cool. My mom doesn't want the air conditioning. I don't know why. She's got COPD. Figured, having it easier to breathe, more, constant temperature would be better for her, but she just doesn't like, the extra expenditure of the heightened hydro bill. So I go over to her place, and I was sweating so bad, my glasses actually fell right off my face. I was like, oh, not good. But we got all the stuff out of her freezer, all the stuff out of mom and dad's freezer, brought over here into my big freezer, and put them all in there, and everything's chilling like a villain now. So kind of sucks because now they got to go out and spend another $1,000 or so on a new fridge, and they're in their 70s, so it's yeah, sweet deal for that. Yeah, that's a bonus. Being able to work wherever you want to work, the scenery you want to have. Oh, that'd be. You got your bathroom done except for the shower? Ooh. Normally, that's the first thing you want to get done, because it's the deepest into your room. You're not going to scratch everything else up, putting in the tub, the shower, the stonework or whatever you want to put in there, or the tub surround. Normally, the first thing you want to take care of is the shower area. At least that's my opinion anyway. It's like, oh, here comes an honored guest. Hello, honored guest.
Thank you.
How are you doing? I saw you on the Source.
Yeah. Are we live, or are we?
Yeah, we're live.
Yeah. I was on there. Do your viewers know about the Source?
They do now.
Awesome. Yeah, Doran's a pretty good guy. I like him. He's a great fella, and it was a pleasure to be on there. Hopefully we can get you on there one of these days.
Well, it's always possible. He's got to put out the invite, and
He's got some really good people on his channel. He's doing really well, and
I went up on his channel one time when I first met him. When you first sent me the link.
Yeah, I remember.
He was live, and I was like, okay, I'll check this guy out. And he put down the link, and he says, anybody want to come up? So, all right, yeah, I'll come up. Whatever, I'll make him laugh. And, yep, I made him laugh.
Like you always do. That's the main thing about it.
So, being that you're down in the southern states, I got a question for you.
Okay.
And with you being down in the southern states, this question makes you a professional at this area. Okay. So basically, I'm asking the experts.
Okay.
What do you do to beat the heat? Not beat the meat, beat the heat, the hotness, the temperature.
Yeah. Well, really, I'm honestly a homebody, so I'm usually, if it gets too hot, if I'm out in the yard, I'll just go back inside and grab me a cold drink or a glass of water or something. I mean, I don't.
Big old glass of lemon tea.
We around our house we drink sweet tea.
Yeah.
So, but no, if you remember, on one of her videos, Filipina P went to St. Augustine.
Yep.
And the reason why I'm bringing her up is because that's where she went in one of her videos when she was here. I went to school there.
Yeah.
I went to school there for a couple of years, and the temperature there during the summer, and the reason why I know this because they also offered a summer camp for the blind. And the temperature there in St. Augustine will at least get up to 110, 111 degrees. Yeah. And we were doing a tour one day of the fort, the Fountain of Youth. They were just taking us around the city, and the lady that was running the camp says, "We got to get you back." I was like 18 years old because you could go to this summer camp. The maximum age you could go was 18. So I just turned 18.
Yeah.
So because in the state of Florida, when you turn 18, you're practically an adult. Well, you are an adult. You're legally recognized as an adult. So they're like, RJ, do you want to go back to the dormitory? It's 110 degrees outside. I'm like, yeah, I'm hot. This is not going to work. So they're taking me back to the dormitory because that's where we slept at the camp. And one of the ladies asked me, she goes, "Well, how come you didn't complete the tour?" I'm like, "Yeah, me heat struck to death? I don't think so. I'm sorry." Yeah. But, and they put me in a room with a kid that went to St. Augustine, to the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, but he was there for remedial something. I can't remember what it was, but it was remedial. I think it was remedial math or something like that. And this dorm parent, he was on the night shift, and he was kind of like a freaking drill sergeant. I mean, or at least he thought he was. He comes walking in our room, and I'm laying in bed trying to sleep. "What are you doing up?" I'm like,
"I wasn't. You woke me up."
I'm like, what the? That's what I'm thinking in my head. He goes, "What are you doing up?" And he's just yelling at this kid. And I'm like, bro. I'm thinking to myself, dude, you take a chill pill. And I knew this guy from when I went to school there. I knew who the dorm parent was. And he looks over at me and he goes, "Things haven't changed in 11 years, have they?" Have they? I'm like, I don't know who you think you are yelling at me, but that's the last damn thing you're going to do. I'm not the same person I was 11 years ago. He goes, oh, you got a mouth on you. I'm like, yeah, because I've been in the sighted world and I've been in the blind world.
Yep.
He goes, well, why you got to get attitude, son? I said, first off, I'm not your son. Second of all, you woke me up out of a dead sleep coming in here yelling like a freaking idiot.
Yeah.
I said, now, you want to start again? We can keep going. He goes, I'll report you to the director. I said, I don't give a damn. You go right ahead. And the director comes down the hall and he goes, George, RJ is not somebody you want to mess with. I suggest you talk to Alan. That was the kid's name. He goes, I suggest you talk to Alan and get the hell out of there.
Yep.
Because RJ is not the guy you want to mess with right now.
You got a memory like an elephant.
And I told my dad what happened. My dad goes, yeah, you need to stand up to that asshole. I'm like, yep. I wasn't going to put up with it.
Nope. No,
Yes.
when you get knocked down by somebody like that, you get back up and you say, listen.
Well, and then needless to say, I found out later on, this guy that was doing all this yelling and screaming and shit, he hadn't been taking care of himself, so he ended up getting diabetes and all that stuff, and he ended up losing his eyesight and his life and everything like that. And I'm like, well, you want to be an asshole, I guess karma has a way of putting you in line, I guess.
What's that saying most preachers use?
Yeah.
It goes something like the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you got to be careful what you do.
Lord works in mysterious ways. I told him, I said, dude, I said, you need to, man, you need to watch it. You woke me up out of a dead sleep.
Yeah.
And the guy was just being a real jerk, but I had this one dorm parent there that was the nicest person. She was very sweet. And while the other kids, because they had this thing where they would hold on to your allowance money. And she's like, RJ, you don't have to give us your money. You're 18, you're an adult, we'll help you if you need it.
Yeah.
But you don't need to give us your wallet or anything like that. You're grown. I'm like, thank you. I appreciate that.
Spend your money the way you want. It's your fault.
Yeah. Just make sure you know how much you got.
Yeah.
And they would let us order pizza and stuff, and they would deliver it to the camp and everything like that. And me and this one guy, I remember his name was Junior. So me and Junior, we decided one day we was going to order a pizza, and we just sat in the TV room eating pizza one night.
It's when you order ice cream when it's really hot and you go, ice cream. I have some ice
Yeah. Ice cream for ice cream.
No, the Eddie Murphy version of it.
Oh, God.
Well, it looks like ice cream.
Oh, my God. Not Eddie Murphy. You ever watch? I remember that show, A Few Good Men, or the movie A Few Good Men. That was my dad's favorite show, or my dad's favorite movie. And the lawyer's standing up there, and he's just going at it. The dude's under cross-examination. The colonel is under cross-examination. This lawyer is just really trying to hit him hard, but this colonel is not budging. And the lawyer goes, I want the truth. And then Jack Nicholson goes, you can't handle the truth.
That particular scene and line was actually improv.
Yeah.
Like Jack Nicholson didn't feel that the original line that was supposed to be in there actually made sense. So he changed it to, you can't handle the truth. And it made that whole scene even more epic than it was.
Actually, there was a point in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets where the guy, Tom Felton, that played Malfoy, Draco Malfoy.
Yep.
He actually did an improv like that. He there's a part in the film where he goes, what are you doing? And Doyle goes, reading. And then Malfoy goes, reading? I didn't know you could read. That
Yeah.
was not even in the script. I didn't know you could read. That
Yeah.
wasn't even in the script. And the way Tom Felton even got the part, he never even read the books.
Nope.
And he ended up getting the part.
Well,
And he
the thing about it is J.K. Rowling asked the producers of the movie to send out a challenge to the actors that were applying for the roles, and basically what happened was Emily Watson, okay,
yeah, Emma Watson.
yeah, Emma Watson. She wrote like a 20. They said we want a 7-page description of why you want this part. Emma Watson wrote like a 20-page.
Yeah.
And
you know what's so weird about Emma Watson though? I never knew this, but when she played Belle in Beauty and the Beast,
yeah,
she turned out to be a damn good singer.
Oh yeah.
I like in all the Harry Potter movies, she never sang.
Nope.
But when she played Belle and she would sing, I'm like, oh my God, she makes Jodie Benson look like a Sunday school girl. And I like
getting back to the essays.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I like Jodie Benson. I like her voice. But when Emma Watson did it, there was just something genuine about the way she sang.
Yeah. But getting back to the essays, Daniel Radcliffe made sure his went from the top line of the first page to the top line of the 7th page. No more, no less. Rupert Grint didn't do it at all.
Oh, damn.
Because he saw it in the books. It was just like, he was just laid back. He didn't, his character was carefree. He didn't care. That's why he got the part. But Draco Malfoy, Tom Felton.
Yep.
He copied his off of somebody else.
They were doing an interview with all of the cast after they had made the final movie, and Daniel Radcliffe said that he and Alan Rickman were really good friends because Alan Rickman
was really good friends with the entire cast.
Oh yeah,
the entire cast loved Alan Rickman.
And he said because Alan Rickman had just passed away.
Yep.
And Daniel Radcliffe said that Alan Rickman mentored him.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it because he took it. I mean, you grow up around greatness like Alan Rickman from the time you're like 11 or 12 years old to the time you're basically an adult.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he was probably telling Daniel, okay, Daniel, when we do this scene, remember what I told you, or remember what the director told you, or remember what this person told you. Or yeah. But that one part where he goes in Goblet of Fire, where he goes, my hand just might slip over your morning pumpkin juice.
Yeah.
I didn't take anything. Don't lie to me.
Yeah.
When he said that, don't lie to me, I'm like, oh crap. I would have hated to be one of his kids in real life.
But
I mean,
Um,
could you just
like, can you imagine the thought process
mm,
of creating a character as complex
hmm
as Severus Snape?
Oh my god.
Because like from the minute I started watching the Harry Potter series,
Mm-hmm.
I freaking hated Snape.
Yeah.
I hated his guts because of his mannerisms, his snarly attitude towards Harry Potter, a young
Yeah.
kid that he didn't even know.
Yeah.
And then you go through the entire series,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find out that last little bit of nugget
Mm-hmm.
on his dying breath
Mm-hmm.
when he gives Harry Potter that
That
pencil
vial.
juice.
Yeah.
And then Harry goes and takes a look at it, and all of a sudden at that moment it was like, okay, now I got to rewatch the entire series again.
Mm-hmm.
I got to rewatch all 8 movies,
Mm-hmm.
and then when you rewatch the movies, you find all the different places where Severus Snape was actually protecting Harry Potter
Mm-hmm.
throughout the entire thing. I was like,
And
wow.
and he was and like Dumbledore was never an asshole, but he made he wanted Harry to know the truth about everything. And I like how in the 4th book, and this is not in the movie, but this is in the 4th book. And Harry's just met Voldemort, he's just fought him and everything. He's in the hospital wing and he's tired, he's just completely exhausted. And Professor McGonagall, who's the deputy headmistress of Hogwarts,
Yeah.
she goes, "Potter, hospital wing." And Dumbledore goes, "No." And she goes, "Well, look at him. He's exhausted." And Dumbledore goes, "He will stay, Minerva. He needs to know who put him through this ordeal tonight. He's got to know." And so while Dumbledore wasn't an asshole, he didn't pamper Harry either.
Yeah.
And
He handed it to him straight.
yeah.
Kiki and Jasmine says J.K. Rowling was very outspoken about the gender identity BS in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, even though she was chastised for her opinion, that just goes to show how far some groups will go to silence
Mm-hmm.
and disrupt the free speech of another person
Mm-hmm.
for their opinion
Oh yeah.
just because it doesn't match their own. And that kind of sucks.
Well,
And,
it's the same thing here in the U.S. You have these people that basically, like this whole Pride Month BS that we have to put up with. I personally don't celebrate Pride Month. We have a month for every freaking thing here.
Except for
we don't even have a month for blind people.
well, okay, there's one thing that we don't have a month for.
I mean, my God, we have a month for women, Black History Month, which I don't have a problem with because Black history is important. We have
all history is important.
Yeah, we have a month for women. We have a month for
actually there's a couple of months for women.
Yeah, we have months for women. We have a month for autism. That's in April. And really, what is pride anyway? When you really look at it, what pride means, you're proud of something, okay?
You have an emotional feeling towards something.
They've taken that word and they've put it to an identity.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to celebrate this, and some people, including myself, do not believe that it's that it aligns with Christian teaching. Okay, I'm not, and again, I'm not judging. I'm just saying this is how I was raised. I was raised to believe that a man ought not sleep with another man, or a woman ought not sleep with another woman. That's how I was raised.
Yeah, I was raised that it was Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Exactly. And
But you know, you got to like
when
when it comes to free speech and freedom of
right,
expression.
right,
You know, hey, I'll give them their freedom of expression,
right.
but don't force it on me.
But don't force it. And just like, well, and it's just like I was taught, growing up, you shouldn't, especially when I was in seminary, and our professors would tell us, don't force the Bible on people.
Nope.
Okay, if they want to hear about it, they will let you speak about it, but don't force it.
Yeah.
And see, I think the problem is you have some people on both sides that try to force, one side or the other.
Yep. Well,
And
Tiki Jasmine says, when I was in Ireland, I was absolutely fuming to see rainbow flags hanging at schools. Ireland is on the brink of some serious civil conflict in the very near future. I think the entire world is on basically a civil unrest
exactly.
alert, and it's.
I mean, look at what happened.
I think this is at the head of it.
Well, I mean, look at what happened this weekend. I mean, look at what happened with Iran and in the U.S. and when the U.S. sent them bunker buster bombs, 12 of those things. Corey, them things are freaking huge.
Oh yeah,
30,000 pounds.
The thing about it is did Trump during his campaign say no new wars?
He did.
Okay.
And that's
what's this shit about the tariffs and the freaking bombing on Iran?
See, that's the thing. Is anybody can say anything during a campaign. But once you get in there, and I tell this to people all the time, you can criticize the guy that's in there. Okay, we all do it. We criticize the person that's in there. But when you're the one in there and you're the one having to face everything and look at the situation, and you're the one having to make decisions, then you realize, oh snap, I don't know what, I didn't know what I was talking about.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that. But the thing about it is, the very first thing that he did when he was out of office is he started a trade war with the entire world. Like
that, I see. And here's the thing: that right there, I think, was a bad move on his part.
Oh, it's a huge bad move.
It was because see, this is the thing. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to get people to pay their fair share. But to limit trade is
it's not so much to get people to pay their fair share. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's trying to make it so expensive to import things that they invest in factories in the United States. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's the rub about that. Okay. Let's say in Canada, we have what you guys want is our steel and our aluminum. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So he put big tariffs on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The raw materials come from Canada.
Yep.
Okay. We process a bunch of it.
Yep.
And then ship our processed stuff and the raw materials to the United States in different locations. Right. So that this way here you guys can process what you process.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. Okay.
Right.
So what he wants, what the tariffs on that, what he's really wanting for that is for Canada to invest in the United States with companies to hire American workers to process those ores into aluminum and steel, taking away from the Canadian workers.
Yeah.
There's no balance to his action. Okay.
The thing is, I think that's where a lot of people were like, "Hey, man, chill out with the tariffs."
Yeah,
You know,
it's not working.
and well, and yes, he is doing a lot of good in terms of,
Hanging up the
getting
DEI,
yeah,
freaking
hanging up the DEI.
going back
He
down to 2 genders.
he practically he practically shut down the North American Mexico border. Just basically shut it down. I mean,
He
we don't
also
have
shut down the Canadian American border. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, if you heard, but tourism from Canadians has gone to damn near zero.
Oh, you ain't been to Okeechobee because we get a lot of Canadians here in the wintertime.
Not anymore. There's a whole lot of people boycotting it. They're selling their shed and they're staying here. Like,
Huh.
yeah, you're not going to see a whole lot of Canadians this year, I don't think.
Mm,
Like in the border towns,
yeah,
like or border cities like
yeah.
Buffalo, the
Oh yeah,
upper eastern states.
yeah.
I saw videos online that those states are actually
Mm.
banding together and trying to work with Canadian provinces to try and lure people into tourism, because their tourism is down 40%.
Mm.
When
I
you
don't
lose
know.
half your money in tourism
Mm.
because of trade disputes,
Right.
you got to do something.
Let's see, and two, I mean, you get and here's the thing is, you have someone like Filipina P who has a tourist visa here,
Yeah,
who came here the correct way and did it
yep,
right.
yeah. She's in no danger.
No. And everyone's like, "Oh, well, you know,
What if
why
ICE
is
comes
he
after you?
what
She shows
yeah.
them her paperwork, and they go, "Okay."
Yeah.
They're not after the people that are there with
No, legally.
reasons and with valid paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
They're not after that. They're after the people that have overstayed their visas.
Mm-hmm.
They're there for people who have crossed the border completely illegally.
Oh yeah.
They're there for the people who have not yet filled out their asylum paperwork, or
Nope.
they're there to get rid of the people that are basically breaking the law being there.
Yep.
So
Well, see, and
I'm all for that. I'm all for
that's
pitching the
the
people that are
thing
there illegally.
is that is the main reason why Donald Trump won was
Yeah.
immigration. He
Well,
went
immigration, and he had more than just one stance, one
uh-huh.
thing to work on.
Yeah.
Okay, he said, "I'm going to get boys out of girls' locker rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to split that apart.
Yep.
I'm going to get rid of the illegal aliens, not the ones that are there and have been there for decades on green card, just getting their green cards. The ones that are there with proper paperwork. If they got proper paperwork, they're staying. The ones that don't have proper paperwork, it better get fucking working on it now,
and or leave.
Or leave.
Like
yeah.
we have, like where I'm at in Florida, we have a lot of migrant workers, lot of migrant workers, and we have a TV commercial that comes on our televisions from the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and she tells them, if you want to leave now and then get your paperwork in order, then you can come back and you can stay. But if you don't, we will find you and you will be deported.
Kieran says Florida's beautiful, hoping to spend a few months there next year.
Who said that?
Kieran, Kiki and Jasmine.
Gotcha.
Um,
I
yeah,
think
like
that'd be awesome.
there's no reason, like the ISIS is not going after people that are there with proper paperwork. If you got proper paperwork, you're safe, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
You've done everything proper. You've done everything to the letter of the law.
And that's and see, I don't blame Trump for any of this.
Nope.
I blame our Congress. They've had years,
Decades.
thank you, decades to do something about the immigration issue,
Yeah.
and they keep kicking it down the road.
Yeah. Like Canada, okay, has
Mhm.
recently lifted visa regulations against Philippines
Ooh.
and a bunch of other countries because of being a valued trading partner.
Mm-hmm.
The citizens that come over for visitation don't overstay their visiting.
Mm-hmm.
When their visas, before their visas are up, they'll either leave or
Mm-hmm.
they'll renew. They're doing, like, their citizens are doing it the right way. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For over like decades.
Oh yeah.
And common trading and valued allied partnerships
Right.
they've decided, okay, we're going to eliminate a bunch of these visa issues and allow these people to come in visa free, where they just got to come in, show their paperwork, tell us how long they're staying, and prove it. And then before they're gone, before their extended stay is over, be gone.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, so it's kind of like a visa waiver.
Yeah, it's a visa waiver kind of thing. Like,
So
you still got to apply for, like,
Ah.
visitation and working, okay,
Yeah.
to let the country know that what you're doing, but the visa process is so much simpler. Okay.
See, and that's the thing we need to do here, because Filipinos, and I can say this because I know some Filipinos. Filipinos are the hardest working people that I've met.
Filipinos are the happiest working people that I've met.
Yeah,
Like,
they're happy, but they're also hardworking. They believe in the value of hard work.
yep.
And I will say this about my own country, and I'm not ashamed to say it. We have shit on them. We have shit on the Filipinos. Because, like, for example, if you're from a country that has a visa waiver, such as Italy, Great Britain, France, South Korea, Germany, and these places, you're basically given a ESTA, electronic security verification or something.
Yeah, you
something or
just got to
another.
apply for that, and away you go.
Yeah, and away you go. Filipinos, they have to literally apply for a tourist visa, and that's like $160.
Yeah.
Like what P said. And here's the thing. A majority of Filipinos that apply for that, they get denied.
Yeah.
And that's not right.
Well, there's a reason why a bunch of them get denied. And that's because for a long time, there was Filipinos going to the United States to meet their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever.
Right.
And
I get that.
Overstaying. Okay?
Yeah, overstaying.
Like, and I would almost bet that it was in the lower states for the majority.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to see a tropical person
Mm-hmm.
want to overstay in someplace like Canada.
I'll tell you this much, and it's not anything against any particular group of people, okay? But I know of American citizens who have gone to the Philippines who have not renewed their visa and they've overstayed their visas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know,
And it's not that hard to renew your visa online.
well, and
Like-
to do it right,
Yeah.
you know, like
And even in the Philippines, you got corporate companies like JR JR, what the hell's his name? JR he's been on P's channel a few times.
yeah, JR, yeah.
Yeah, JR you got companies like his that will monitor your visa to make sure and tell you, hey, listen, your visa is going to expire next month. Time to get your butt in here and get this taken care of. Or time to, pony up another, 1,500 pesos and, we'll take care of it for you.
Yeah.
I don't know why so many people overstay thinking that they're going to get away with it. Like either you're hiding or you're just looking to get in trouble.
You're just being stupid. And a lot of these boneheads that go over to these countries, and it's not just the Philippines, it's Japan, it's South Korea, it's a lot of these other Asian countries like Thailand and stuff. And they act the fool.
Yeah.
For attention. And recently with that idiot Johnny Somali going to Japan
after he was checked out twice.
Yeah, harassing Miyako, the Twitch streamer, making her cry, basically calling her a bitch for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, trespassing, jumping over a fence into a construction site. Now, mind you, this idiot's streaming all this stuff to his Kick channel.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically what happens is he does that. Well, the Japanese authorities are like, all right, we're tired of this crap.
We've had enough of you.
So basically one day, and I don't know if you saw this one, but one day he was streaming and the police arrest him as he's live streaming.
Yep.
And you can hear him, oh, somebody called the embassy. Somebody called the American embassy.
Yeah, I'm being arrested.
I'm like, dude, you started this shit. You're in their country.
Yeah. Kiki and Jasmine says the list is definitely long because overstayers in the Philippines need NBI clearance. They are hiding something from the authorities, and that's you need that. In the Philippines, there's an exit clearance that you got to have.
Oh,
yeah, to make sure that you don't owe any back rent, back utilities.
Right.
You don't owe anybody any money. You haven't broken the law or anything like that. You got to qualify for that exit clearance.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't qualify for the exit clearance, you got to clear all that shit up before you go. And if you're right at the window of your visa, you better get visa renewed.
Mm-hmm.
Get all that other shit cleared up.
Yep.
So the idea is, the perfect idea would be, how about you just pay your damn bills, keep your damn nose clean, pay attention to the laws and the culture around you.
Exactly.
And kind of be a nice person when you're out in another person's soil. Like, that's just kind of common sense, and I don't know why. Other than
I
the fact
don't understand why people have to be
make sense anymore.
Why people have to be dumbasses. I mean, it's just like our history teacher told us this story about this guy that he knew. He was gonna go. He was gonna go over to, I think it was Saudi Arabia or somewhere, and he was gonna sell pot.
Oh, good luck.
And
Good luck keeping that head on your shoulder.
my history teacher goes, I tried to warn the guy, and guy looked at me and says, "I'm
Oh, American.
He goes, I'm American. I can do whatever I want to. He goes, okay, we'll
Nope.
see about that. Well,
Good luck keeping your head on your shoulders.
he goes to freaking Saudi Arabia. They arrest him, and somehow the American embassy was able to help the guy out. And my history teacher said when he came back to the States and he saw that guy again, he looked about 20 years older than his age. They had beat the living shit out of that guy when he was in prison.
He's lucky he didn't lose his head.
Yeah.
He's lucky he didn't come back to the United States of America in pieces.
Yep. Like,
because they will. They believe in capital punishment.
They do. And well, it's just like this whole Otto Warmbier thing in North Korea. That guy had no business going to North Korea.
Yeah.
No business. You know, and to me, and the United States even tells people that North Korea is level 4, meaning don't go there. Okay?
Yeah.
Don't, because they are so strict. If you even so much as take a picture of the supreme leader, like if you take a photo, and I'm not saying with a camera, I'm like saying actually steal a picture, that's a crime.
Well, stealing is a crime.
And that's what he did. He took a picture of, I think it was a picture of Kim Jong-un or something like that.
Oh,
and he ended up going to prison in North Korea. And I remember it because Trump negotiated the dude's release. And
I wouldn't.
He came back to the U.S. and he was in a comatose state, and he ended up dying 6 days later. Why? Because
they beat the piss out of him.
No, I wouldn't say that, but they did. They had to have done something because, and you know, North Korea is not a nation you want to play with, and that's.
If I was the leader of a country and somebody went abroad and acted a fool like Johnny Somali or any of them other idiots that go out and say, the laws of my country protect me against the laws of your country. No, they don't.
Nope.
They were asking for asylum to be brought back, like extraction. I'd be like, you fucked up.
Yep.
You did this to yourself. You did this on your own accord. You fucked up.
I believe that Johnny Somali is also doing time in South Korea for doing something there.
Oh, he is doing time. He'll be there for the next few years.
And from what I understand, South Korea is no joke.
Yeah.
They will.
Kiki and Jasmine says Ric Flair went to North Korea with Muhammad Ali in the 70s. They were arrested, interrogated for 6 days.
Ric Flair?
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. But still in all, like, yeah, it was for wrestling and boxing promotion. But when it comes down to it, if you go to another country and you fucked up, you did something that is illegal here, it's illegal there, it's against the law, and you do it anyway, if I was the leader of a country, I've got no sympathy for you.
Actually, did you know in North Korea on July 8th, you are not allowed to laugh. You have to mourn.
Just on that day?
On that day, you were not allowed to laugh or show any happy emotion. You have to mourn the death of the leader.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Because
In other words, that's a day that I'll have to keep in mind if I ever decide to make the mistake of going to North Korea,
it's
to make sure that I'm not in North Korea for that day.
because and from what I understand, Kim Jong Un has also made it the law no hot dogs are allowed in North Korea. Oh yeah,
Is it too American?
that's what I think. Because North Koreans are not even allowed to wear blue jeans because it's Western influence. I mean, that's how messed up this whole thing is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten pretty bad. But you notice he ain't doing his nuclear tests.
Nope.
He's not doing he's not doing his missile tests.
You know, after this surprise attack with Trump, I don't think anybody would be looking at doing any military tests.
I mean, practically, them bunker buster bombs are 30,000 pounds. Just imagine a 30,000 pound bomb hurling toward a building like that. Not only just hitting the building, but it basically burrows itself into the ground like 300 feet or more into the ground. Then it explodes.
Well, what it does is it hits, explodes, hits, explodes, hits, explodes, hits, explodes. It has chambers in it.
Mm.
And it just keeps going down and drilling a bigger hole.
Mm.
It keeps on exploding as it's going down.
Mm.
Like, that's what those bombs were made for. They were made for
Mm.
all the devastation, none of the fallout.
He just, like, basically, you could say he fucked them up.
Well, there's rumors, don't know how true they are, but there's rumors that the bases were almost empty when they bombed them up.
Well, the nuclear facilities.
And Iran and Israel have now agreed to ceasefire at work.
Mm.
Right after Iran basically ran over the base, the Air Force base in Qatar.
Oh yeah,
they retaliated on the Air Force base in Qatar.
They did, but they didn't kill any Americans. Thank God. No,
because like one of the smartest things that could have been done is they said when they organized this attack, they said, okay, the most prominent thing that, or the most probable thing that's going to happen is they're going to retaliate against that base in the Qatar. So empty the base. So that's why there was no casualties, because they knew the probability of them retaliating against the base in Qatar was going to be in the high 80s to 100%.
Oh yeah.
So why not clear the base out and just let them take their little victory and say, oh, bye-bye.
1 and 2, I mean, my God, Israel this morning, they were blowing up a TV. They blew up a TV station, or bombed a TV station, bombed the gate at a prison that holds political dissidents. So that, if these people get out, then you have the Shah of Iran's son. He's already come out and said that he wants to lead Iran, more or less. So I don't know.
It's I don't really get into politics and all that bullshit. So
it's really interesting because all this started in 1979, the year I was born. So been
Yeah,
going
it all
on.
started over a drop of black liquid.
Excuse me. Anyway,
But
how long
yeah,
we
it's
been
starting
going?
to cool off outside here.
Yeah. How long we been going for?
Hour and 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
I'm outside having a smoke again.
Hmm.
But yeah, I tell you, my parents' fridge in the back, like they got
Yep.
2 fridges. The fridge that they got in the storeroom, their storage room, it freaking fried. And then my mom called me up in a panic, and she's like, "Oh my God, how much room's in your freezer?" Lots. And she goes, "Great, we need some of it." The fridge broke in the back. I was like, "Okay." I packed up all my cooler bags, and I marched all the way over to where my dad volunteers at. And on my way, I stopped and grabbed the Tim Hortons iced cappuccino. It was so freaking hot outside that when I walked outside with that iced cappuccino, all the ice crystals melted in it.
Yeah.
Like instantly. Like it was liquid. It was all liquid. No frosty stuff.
Right.
I was
Right.
like, damn.
Well, and
That iced cappuccino didn't want to play anymore, I guess, you know.
man, I tell you what, you mentioned the source, you mentioned Jamie from down the road.
Jamie from down the road. I gotta admit, that guy there, he's got a series on his channel called Bigfoot. I freaking love that series.
Oh yeah.
And the last live stream that I caught of his,
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting there thinking to myself, you know, it'd be really funny is if if he was doing a live stream and then Bigfoot started photo bombing in the background. Okay, like just be like, you know, oh, what's that back there? You know, like, and him not even know about it when it happens or you know whatever.
Yep.
Just him doing a live stream and all of a sudden, freaking Bigfoot goes walking by. That would have been funny enough. But what happened was he was doing a live stream in his living room. In his living room, dude. And then all of a sudden there was a knock at the door and freaking in walks Bigfoot. I started laughing because like I knew right away, like that's what I was thinking. He ought to do a live stream with Bigfoot. And there it was, dude. Oh, it was funny.
Yep, I like Jamie. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
I like him because I told him about you, and I'm like, hey, do you know a guy named Crazy Kid 949? He's like, no, I don't know that guy, but I know Tuber.
Well, you sent me the link, and he was doing a live stream in his van, and he was sitting there eating pizza, and I'm sitting there, you know, commenting.
Mm-hmm.
Here and there, and you know, whatever like that. And all of a sudden, he says, "Hey, you want to come up?" So he sent me the link, and I went up. We sat there and shot the breeze. Oh my god, Jamie is a great guy.
He really is. And Tuber Chat, Kevin from Tuber Chat, he's a good guy.
Yep.
I told him, I said, hey, do you know a guy named Crazy Kid 949? And he said, yep, I know Crazy Kid.
Yeah. Kevin's a pretty good guy. It's funny. Here's all these Canadian YouTubers, and you know, I knew Paul from Canada, from the Fourth Impact group, and then him and I started, you know, chatting and stuff like that, you know, here and there. He comes to my channel once in a while,
right?
And then I don't know how I got hooked up with Tuber Chat. It was just random. I just
that's what happened to me. Is I was just you know, trolling YouTube one day. Well, not trolling, but searching YouTube, scouring YouTube, and all of a sudden, bam! In my recommendations, there's Tuber Chat, and I'm like, who's this guy? And I click on it, and it's Kevin.
Yeah,
and I'm
he's
like,
up promoting people, having fun, and
oh yeah, and I'm like, hey, I'm RJ. How are you? Blah blah blah. And he's like, oh, I'm great. I'm like, I'm gonna show you out with my friend Crazy Kid 949. He's like, yeah, I know him. I'm like, and I'm thinking, and the song pops in my head. It's a small world after
Oh
all.
yeah, yeah. I got sick of that song there when I went to
Oh my
Magic
god.
Kingdom with a buddy of mine in '99, and you find out it's not a small world when you're walking through that place.
Oh my god.
Because
Oh
like we
my.
were going from one side of the Magic Kingdom where Space Mountain was,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were going to this other place
Mm-hmm.
that had like the Rock and Roller Coaster or something like that. It was another really good roller coaster,
Yeah, yeah.
and we had to go through Small World. Well, it wasn't such a small world after all.
Nope.
It was
Wait,
it was a long walk, and we had to hear that song probably about 3 dozen times on the way through that.
when I went in '99, because we had grad night.
That's when we went, was '99, November of
Yeah.
'99.
Yeah. Well, when we went, we had senior grad night for the seniors, and because I was a senior that year in high school, and my Braille teacher brought her husband with us. Brought her husband on the trip, and so he goes, "Hey, you want to go on alien encounters?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's go." So we go into alien encounters, and he's describing it to me, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I like this."
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
ended up shutting it down though because they said it was too scary. It was too visually scary. But I
probably
was,
for the kids.
yeah, it was for the kids, but it didn't scare me at all. I was
No.
like just chilling and
Yeah.
the haunted
Oh,
mansion.
wow. Kieran says he graduated university in '99.
Dang, holy cow.
Yep.
I went to Disney. I went to the Magic Kingdom when I was like 6 years old.
I
And
never
the
made it till I was 28.
And the haunted mansion scared the crap out of me when I was 6 years old.
Oh,
yeah, it scared the crap out of me because and I'm screaming and crying and everything, and then when I go back on the ride 99, I'm like, I'm just sitting in the little cart thing that they put you in.
Yep.
And I'm just riding, just listening to the story or whatever.
Yep.
And I go to get out of the cart, and my teacher goes, RJ, that's a long cry from when I took you here when you were 6 years old.
Yeah.
She goes, you screamed and cried all the way home.
Yeah. See, I didn't make it to Florida until I was 28.
Mm.
I never got to see Mickey until I was 28 years old.
I was when I was 28. Hell, I was.
Ian Jasmine says I was afraid of Big Bird from Sesame Street as a kid.
Big Bird. Don't do that, Ernie. Ernie, I can't see.
Oscar. But yeah, the
C is for cookie.
Oh,
Cookie
yeah.
starts with C. C is for cookie. Cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. Cookie, cookie, cookie starts with C.
Mm-hmm.
My sister's granddaughter is 4, and she loves Cookie Monster.
Well, what kid doesn't?
That's what I'm saying. Like
the word that they love the most, cookie.
Cookie. Yeah, like.
And they got a lot in common,
And every time every time I because I have this cookie jar with cookies in it, And every
Usually what you
time,
put in a cookie jar.
yeah, well, every time I go and get a cookie, I'll be like, C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. And she thinks I'm Cookie Monster because I can actually imitate Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
It's
But
funny.
yeah, the like when we went down to Florida, Florida, we went to Magic Kingdom,
Yeah.
Universal Studios. Um, we took a day and went down to uh, St. Petersburg,
You know,
and we also went to Busch Gardens.
oh, I never had the chance to go to Busch Gardens or Cypress
Oh,
Gardens or Universal,
yeah,
but I will say this, I am going back to Tampa this year.
nice.
Yep,
Well,
I just got the email
nice.
not too long ago. I've been invited back.
Well, that's what happens when you do a good job and the people like you.
Yep.
You put off
Well,
put off a positive image, put off a
mhm.
positive impression,
Yep.
and you get positive results.
Yep. And I go August 1st, and the lady that does the entertainment for the Buccaneers, she said, we'd like to have you back, and I said, okay.
I'd like to be back.
Yep. So I'm gonna be hanging out with them on August 1st, and then
Nikki and Jasmine says that's great. Or Jay, congratulations.
thank you. And hopefully I'll be after that. If everything works out, I might sing at a game.
Nice.
If everything
Well, maybe
works.
after you sing at a game, you might be able to get one at Daytona 500.
I don't think Special Olympics Florida. I don't think they work with Daytona 500. I don't think.
You never know. Someone there might say, hey, I really like the way this guy does the national anthem. Let's have him come over.
Well, yeah, but we they have specific sponsors that they,
Yeah, but they don't just go with a sponsored person to do the national anthem.
No, but
They do, whoever applies and whatever like that or gets noticed, they'll do that. Like I've seen some people go up on some of the NASCAR races, and I tell you, I don't see any real patriotism in the performance of their national anthem. The way that they just completely go off the rails with their performance. It's just like, put a little bit of pride into it,
Exactly. And
show a little bit
the song itself is difficult to sing.
Well, it has tonal and speed fluctuations in it that just,
and you have to know, like I know last time I had to sing for a rodeo, and when I hit that note, or the land of the free, it was like I said, for or the land of the free, because my voice just gave out because I wasn't feeling like my throat was hurting.
You weren't 100%.
Yeah, I wasn't 100%. And the people that invited me knew that there was something wrong, and they're like, that's
unusual.
Yeah, that's unusual because usually you're
spot on
you're
on
spot
time
on.
on.
You're
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I've been practicing. They're like, no, it's not that. There's something wrong with your voice. Because the lady come up to me and she's like, there's something wrong with your voice. You might be coming down with something. You might need to get that checked.
Yeah.
And thank God, I gave my voice a rest that night. And I went, they wanted me to come back, and my brother-in-law's like, no,
Need a little bit more rest.
he needs a little bit more rest. Because I'd just been hitting it hard, practicing and everything like that. So, but thanks for having me on, buddy. I'm gonna jump off here. Yeah, or if you and I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on board and having some fun.
Yep.
I'm gonna end this anyways. It's been like it's been an hour and 45 minutes. So until we get to the next one, folks, I wish you all peace, love, and happiness.